how can I legally save as much as possible?
So that's going to be a big positive change for 2025.
That I could write off things like hair, makeup, business dinners that I have when I meet with people.
You cannot say, oh, I'm only in the first year of the business, so I'll show a loss.
How soon should you be getting these documents in order and making these appointments with your tax attorney or with someone like yourself?
No.
You can't write off your payments?
No.
Yeah,
This is why I need an accountant.
Yeah, checks got stolen, so the IRS said no more checks. We don't want to deal with this problem anymore.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Good morning.
All right, today we have CPA accountant, Mr. Sam Paltiel, and his partner, George. Is it Fayzibayev? Fayzibayev. It's a pleasure to meet you both. Today's podcast is actually going to be an educational one. We have a lot of inquiries from people that are constantly asking about the differences between LLCs. What kind of different LLC is there? How important is life insurance for me if I have a family? Is it too late for me to get life insurance if I hit a certain age? Are there health exclusions that I should consider before I even talk to somebody about life insurance? When I'm filing my taxes, what do I do if I get audited? These are just very, very few and basic questions that a lot of people, have. And since tax season is coming up, we took it upon ourselves to give you guys a little bit of a question-answer format so you guys can be better educated when you are planning for this year's taxes. Are you gentlemen ready?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. So just to give a little intro, I know that you guys are located right over here. It's called Network Solutions in Jamaica Avenue, correct?
Correct.
And you're here basically giving people a service where you consult with them first if they have any questions or concerns, and you are able to... Tell me a little bit about yourself first, George.
So I'm IRS enroll agent. I've been practicing taxes, real estate, and insurance for on or about 20 years. We have a very successful practice. We have a very good office. We have about 5 accountants and bookkeepers work in the office.
Mm-hmm.
We have also real estate agents who work with us, and we concentrate on those type of products: taxes, defined benefit plan, pension planning, and real estate, because all those products goes hand to hand together.
Very good. And Sam, how much experience do you have being an accountant?
I became a CPA in 2013, but I have been working as a CPA practically since 2003. That's the first year I graduated, so I have plenty of experience as a CPA at this point.
All right. Well, a lot of people have a lot of questions, myself included. My brother knows, I have no idea what I'm doing. And sometimes I'm very surprised that the government is not knocking on my door and the feds aren't taking me away. So if I didn't have my brother, that probably would be my personal experience. But for the people at home that are listening, watching, they could really use some education on these topics. First and foremost, for 2025, what are any current year new tax updates that somebody might need to know and understand before filing?
So the standard deduction has gone up for individuals as far as individuals and married couples. So that's going to be a big positive add for the 2025 tax year. There's additional $6,000 in deduction that's allowed for anybody who's over 65, retired, yet still working and has earned income. So that's going to be a very positive thing that's happening for 2025. We have a lot of other things besides that. That's also going to be an add-on for 2025. We can go in more detail later, but I'm just giving you a little example. So the IRS just announced that 2025 is going to be the biggest year of refunds for middle class. So a lot of the changes are very positive, especially for small business owners. The Trump administration also prolonged the QBI, the Qualified Business Income Deduction, for small businesses such as LLCs, passed through as S-Corps. So that's going to be a big positive change for 2025. There is also $40,000 compared to the $10,000 that we used to have in property, local income taxes that individuals used to be able to deduct. So it went from 10 to 40. So a lot of people who weren't able to itemize in 2025, a big chance of them starting to back to itemization, therefore lowering their taxable income and having a much better tax bracket.
Wow. So you're saying 2025 is basically a much better year when it comes to refunds and all these things. So it's beneficial for people to understand these tax updates.
It is expected to be that, yes.
Got it.
I mean, for very high net worth, high earners, probably not as much. but still, even them, the highest rate went from 39 to 37. So that's still a big deal. If you take 2% on $500,000 of income, that's going to be a big savings for a lot of taxpayers.
And what kind of clientele do you gentlemen usually deal with? Does it really vary? Can it be just like, all the way from the bottom to all the way to, people that have, own buildings, of real estate brokers such as yourself, doctors, lawyers? What kind of clientele do you guys mainly deal with?
Well, we mainly deal with high net individuals, doctors, real estate developers, attorneys, but we also handle small businesses, different type of businesses. And we also handle individual taxes as well. If client walked or call our office, we schedule an appointment. Appointment is free. And we explain what's the best situation for this or that client or businessman and navigate him in a financial world. How to, taxes need to be filed, estimated taxes, payroll, etc., etc. Depends on the needs of the business. Depends on the client's request.
Now, I'm somebody that is very proud of our community. Now, I know you guys obviously cater to people outside of that, but we have a huge majority of people in this community that probably use both of your services. Something that I always say is that our community has gone leaps and bounds. We have a lot of successful business owners. And probably the biggest question for people is, how can I legally save as much as possible? How can successful business owners legally save on taxes? Like, something I always think about is 2016 when Trump was battling Hillary Clinton, and she tried to get him on the fact that he's using all of these tax provisions. And rather than him being embarrassed, he kind of actually set the bar and that standard of course I use these tax provisions. Who wouldn't? When you make that much money, you don't want to give all of it away to the IRS. There are ways that are legal loopholes, and things that people should be using because they're meant to be used, correct? These provisions are there for a reason. For sure. So this is probably one of the biggest questions that a lot of people have. We have a very successful community, and obviously more people want to keep more of their hard-earned money. So what are some, how can people save that are very successful? What are some legal strategies that they can use?
The best strategy, and I believe that's what Donald Trump used, it's investment in real estate. Mm-hmm. If you have funds, if you have ability, people do invest in real estate. The IRS legally give you great deductions in terms of depreciation. It's a big topic, and if people are interested, we can go over those legal strategies. And of course, IRS give opportunity to invest in different pension plans, 401ks, IRAs, SEP, which we do in our office. When you create your own pension plan for the company, and you can allocate a large amount of money into the pension plan and write off those plans as an expense because it's a corporate pension plan. It goes through the attorney. There is a certain forms filed every year, but it's a great legal way how to legally lower your taxes.
And let's say it's someone like me. I remember the first time I filed, I didn't do any of these things because it was a brand new industry for me personally with social media. Someone like me, I don't really have that much overhead, and I have a lot of 1099s that I have to deal with. And, when I was dealing with this the second year, I really only recently learned and was informed that I could write off things like hair, makeup, business dinners that I have when I meet with people. Are those some of the examples that people, I'm talking about people that aren't, let's say, Donald Trump, or, they don't own buildings, but people that, let's say, have a bunch of 1099s and they do have business expenses. How important is bookkeeping for people that have an LLC that need to, stay organized?
It's very important. I cannot emphasize it enough. Everything has to do with your proper handling of your books and records. If you have the proper records, the proper financial reports, the banks look at you differently. If you, God forbid, have an audit, the auditors look at you differently. It's sometimes a matter of losing and winning a case in any type of case. It could be a sales tax audit. It could be a labor department audit, an income tax audit. Doesn't matter. You have to have the proper books and records, and it has to start from day one. You cannot say, oh, I'm only in the business for the first year. I don't need it. It's not important. No such thing. It's very important to start the proper way from day one of having the business. And some people have this notion that, oh, I heard that if you're in the first 3 years of your business, you don't really have to even show a profit. You can show a loss. That's absolute nonsense. You have to show what went in and out of your bank account. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If you made money in your
down to the penny, basically, especially if it's a business.
If you made money in the first year of your business, so be it. You're going to have to show. Yeah, there are strategies to lower your taxable income. We'll be more than glad to help you out. But you cannot say, oh, I'm only in the first year of the business, so I'll show a loss. You're asking for a big problem. So you have to, therefore, consult an accountant and have a trusted individual that you trust, and you have to do what your accountant tells you to do.
Now, you guys mentioned something, and I don't even really know what this means personally. You stress the importance of paying estimated taxes. What does that mean? What is estimated taxes? How does somebody know what the estimation is? Let's say they don't know the income that they're going to get.
I'll let George handle this.
So estimated taxes basically have to be paid throughout the year. It should be 4 payments. Sometimes people cannot make 4 payments, so then it's bill 3, 2. IRS will penalize the business or individual for not filing estimated taxes. IRS will penalize with the penalty and interest on not to file estimated tax. An estimated tax, the one rule is 90% of the prior year taxes, so it have to be paid during the year. If it's a new business, basically if you have a cash flow and you do bookkeeping, you already see your net income, and based on that net income, you file your estimated taxes.
Got it. Okay. So when it comes to life insurance, I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about this. I just briefly touched up on it in the beginning. How important is it to consider life insurance, and what are some of the benefits? Like, a lot of people are under the understanding that life insurance is really there if you're paying out monthly, and when you die, your family gets a payout.
Correct.
Does it go deeper than that? Can you use that money before the death? Are there any benefits to getting life insurance outside of possibly paying, in, and you have to wait till there's a death?
Absolutely, yes, but it's a big topic to cover in this podcast. But basically, life insurance is a financial product. Mm-hmm. We use auto insurance when we drive outside, so life insurance is a product to cover somebody's life. God forbid person doesn't live long, the beneficiary will collect the face value of the policy. But there is a lot of products when they offering you a certain type of accumulation of the funds. When individual reach certain age, let's say 70, the funds available for individual to collect, and those funds can be withdrawn on a monthly basis, semi-annually, or annually towards the retirement. So person have a life insurance, and person have some kind of accumulation which will help him to add additional cash flow to his retirement. Again, most 3 type of life insurance: term life, whole life, and different IULs. And we can offer all of those products. We're not captive agents. We're working with different carriers.
So you're not exclusive to, let's say, only one insurance company. Okay.
We're not captive agents. We work with different carriers. And when client asks for this or that product, we go to a few carriers, and we'll see which carrier offer what product, the price, and how it suit our client.
Got it.
Because on the market today, the same product can cost $10 or $100.
So it's very client specific, every plan.
Yes, absolutely. Tailored to needs of the client. And again, but if it's a wealthy individual who has a cash flow, those type of product can be tied with defined benefit plan, when defined benefit plan can be allocated between life insurance and annuities. It's a very good product, and most accountants in the United States, they don't provide those type of services because it's very complicated. Our office do, and one of the reasons they don't provide, actuary have to be involved. The actuary is a professional who calculate how pension should be allocated, math-based mathematicians or math-based individuals, those actuaries. We provide those type of services, and if anybody interested in this type of products, they can contact us.
So this is kind of like an all-in-one place. That's ideal. You can deal your auto insurance, everything.
We don't do auto insurance.
No auto. I got excited for a second, George. I thought maybe I can come over there and just get it all out of the way.
We don't do auto insurance.
No, I'm kidding. No, listen, that's ideal. If if at the end of the day, when you're going to buy a house, there are, things that come with it. You need to get the insurance for the house. You have to consider life insurance. And these things are all written off, correct? Like you can write off life insurance when you're doing taxes. No? You can't write off your payments?
No.
Yeah,
This is why I need an accountant.
Yeah, the reason the IRS does not allow you to deduct life insurance premiums is because when the benefit activates and the person passes away, the beneficiary receives the proceeds absolutely tax-free.
Tax-free, got it. What are some things what about like 401k payments? Are those, what are things that when we pay every single year that you can write off? Give me an example.
You talking about pension or you talking about generally like deductions?
Generally, deductions.
Anything that's ordinary and necessary to conduct your business, you can deduct.
Tell me the importance of setting up a correct entity type and how does that play into tax savings? This is probably a big one for a lot of people. How do I know what kind of business I should file under?
It's very important. Not every business is built the same way. Just a small example, I can tell you that real estate, if you bought a property and you want to rent it out, it's like a universal rule at this point that you must have an LLC for your property because it protects the property. And it's much easier to set up and a much easier way to report. Especially if you're a single member, you don't even have to report a separate partnership return if you're the only owner. But then again, like I said, every business is different. Is the LLC going to work better 100% for everybody? Absolutely not. There might be an S-Corp that's a better suit. A C-Corp might be a better suit. But if you want to know, what's best way it works for you, for your type of business, you could set up a consultation. We'll be more than glad to help you set up the proper type of entity. But yes, it makes a big difference tax-wise. And what plays into that is your business outside of the city. If it's on Long Island or upstate somewhere in Westchester, it might be better off for you to have an S-Corp because you avoid the city tax. But then again, if you're an S-Corp, you have to take a compensation. And George wanted to point out that there's a rule that you have to follow, basically how much compensation you can take from your S-Corp and how much you can take distribution. So George can add to that.
Yeah, this is the owner compensation strategy, correct?
Right. So IRS very clear on it. The owner have to take proper compensation from the business.
Reasonable, yeah.
Reasonable compensation from the business. We always advise if business has a cash flow, people take payroll to themselves. Mm-hmm. It's increase credit score. It looks positive when you go to the bank and you want to borrow money to purchase a house. And it's IRS rule and regulation to pay yourself proper wages.
Got it.
And I want to also point to what Sam just said about opening companies. A lot of time people do business, let's say in New York, but they have Nevada or Delaware entities, and they're asking to open somewhere in Delaware or Nevada. Depends on type of business. Sometimes it's not necessary, and because you have to file 2 states. Now you have to file New York State, you have to file Delaware and Nevada. It's costly provisions. Mm-hmm. People have to always simplify. If you do business in Florida, you have to have a Florida company, not Delaware or Nevada. In certain cases, probably they might need that type of setup, but mostly they don't need to.
Yes, and I will add something to that as well. A lot of the times clients approach us, I have a Florida company, but I'm doing business in New York.
Right.
That's absolutely fine, but you do have to register in New York as a foreign entity. And if you don't, God forbid, you have some kind of legal issue, your case could be thrown out of court because you've been doing business in New York completely illegal because you never registered in New York, or vice versa. You have a corporation set up in New York, but you decided to do business in Florida. Fine. but you have to register as a foreign entity in Florida, because if Florida finds out you're doing business without registration, there's going to be penalties and
That's interesting. So
issues.
How about for somebody that's like a remote worker? Like, let's say my job pays me in New York. I have to pay New York tax. What if I live in Florida, but I'm working for a company in New York from Florida?
You pay tax in the state that you reside in. That's the default rule.
So I can actually work for a company in New York.
Yes.
And live in Florida.
Correct.
And they pay me, and I file
Florida,
taxes for Florida.
Correct. The Florida does not have a state income tax. As a matter of fact, that's what happened during COVID, or I should say, right after COVID. A lot of people started moving out because they decided, why pay rent in New York where I don't have to even go to the office anymore? So they moved out to all these different states that are tax-free.
Does that apply internationally too? I know somebody that lives in Dubai that works for a New York company. Where are they paying taxes? Also in Dubai?
If they're a U.S. citizen and working for a Dubai company, they still have to report.
No, not a Dubai company. Their job is, remote for New York City.
Okay, but they live in Dubai.
They live in Dubai.
Again, the same concept. They're making money outside of United States, but if they're a green card holder or a U.S. citizen, the rule is you have to report your worldwide income. Yes, there is an exclusion. I believe their exclusion went up by 100 to 100,000 now. So if you earn outside of United States and you're a U.S. citizen, you still have to comply and file a tax return. But most likely you're not going to be taxed on that income because you work outside of the, outside of the
country.
U.S. government. Yeah, U.S. Country.
That's very, very interesting. Okay.
So yeah.
And you have exclusion. That's why most likely you will not pay taxes to the IRS, but you also have to file some forms, FBAR forms, if you have foreign accounts.
Correct. Yes, that's
if
also
you have
correct.
Bank accounts outside of United States. You have to file FBAR forms, and it's very, very important.
Yeah.
I had a client who came to our office, and he was a multimillionaire, and he never declared his bank accounts in Switzerland. And about 20 years ago, IRS made a deal with Switzerland. They disclosed all those accounts, and he got penalized, and we represented him. And we had to file like 15 years of amended tax returns and claim those interests and file FBAR. It was a very long journey.
Yeah, an expensive one for the client.
Yeah, it was successful for the client, but it's a pain.
For the most part, if someone does something wrong with in their tax journey and they get audited, does it really come down to, as long as you pay the penalty? I mean, I know that it goes deeper than that, but or is it possible to do something so wrong that even you pay the penalty, but you're going to prison?
Absolutely.
Yep, for sure.
Absolutely.
The federal government has all the resources it needs to pursue any individual that they want. So we have no control over that. That's why when the client comes in, we advise them to do everything the proper way, to prepare their documents as if they're going to be audited, even if there's no chance in the world that they will. But that's how we prepare, because we don't want to take any chance.
Yeah.
And we do it so that...
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like if the IRS is going to get on you, it's like a proctology exam. It doesn't really...
Believe me, if they want to go after you, they will. And sometimes I've seen cases where... the person wanted to pay the tax and say, here's the money I'm willing to pay, and yet the IRS said no. A great example, Wesley Snipes. And it wasn't even his fault. He had an accountant that advised him that he has no obligation to file income taxes, which is obviously wrong. So at the end, he said to the IRS, his attorneys and everybody said, we'll pay all the tax, just leave us alone. No, the government said no. They made an example out of him.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I want to emphasize the importance again of having very clear set of books and records where everything is categorized correctly, reconciled. All the expenses are ordinary, necessary. There's no monkey business going on, and that will make a difference in every aspect of your life. You want to get a mortgage, you need financials. You want to apply for some kind of a loan for your personal needs. Same thing, financials. So everything is financials, everything. So a lot of people think they're going to save in the short run. Oh, I'll do my own financials. Fine. But if you do it yourself, make sure you do it correct.
And what's something you would advise for the public listening? Now, we went through all this information, and for you guys as the professionals in this field, are there things that people tend to do that are a big mistake? For example, like when it comes to timing your income, how soon should they connect with an accountant before the tax season? Like, should they be knocking on your door on April 14th and saying, hey, I have all these documents? Because I know it happens. I know tax attorney, he's a great example. He gets very overwhelmed right before. I know most accountants get very overwhelmed because it's time to file. But what is your advice for the public listening? How soon as a business owner or even as somebody with a W-2, how soon should you be getting these documents in order and making these appointments with your tax attorney or with someone like yourself?
So business owners have to have some kind of financial strategy. And to knock an accountant door on April 14 or 15, and I do have those.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's always the case.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have to have some kind of legal financial strategy. How much money can be earned, how much estimated taxes need to be paid, payroll have to be put in place, and there is many other factors, smaller and big, to be incorporated. Usually we work with our clients throughout the year. We do bookkeeping, we see and observe cash flow, we see what kind of expenses went through the account, and a few times when we're doing bookkeeping, we'll see checks been stolen from this client, and the employee depositing the same check like 4 times.
Yeah, I actually had that kind of situation.
Just crossing out the name and put the date and depositing over and over. Same check was the same check number, and we report to employers, say, look, this is a problem, and he was able to go to the bank and clear the situation. Sometimes it happens and they can clear, sometimes they cannot. But those steps they can do to prevent fraud and to do proper financial planning. Expenses have to be ordinary and necessary for this or that business, and they cannot be lavish.
Yeah.
So meaning if you're self-employed and you decided to purchase Lamborghini and only Lamborghini, it's very questionable.
How did Kim Kardashian write off of her private jet, explaining that she needs it to fly there and back? It's a $60 million jet.
Well, I don't know. I never met Kim.
Or $600 million jet. No, my question is those kinds of lavish things that I see in the media, for example, people are writing off. She has a huge $600 million jet. That's it's a lavish jet. It's out of control, but that's a way for her to save all that money. So she invested it into a plane, and she said, this is now going to be covered. I travel so much for business. This is a write-off.
You might be right that she's deducting her plane, but you're not sure if it's 100%. Like the way the media makes it seem.
Or maybe it's not even her plane.
So a lot of things here are questionable. We don't know the details of the purchase of her plane, how she's structured it, if she's maybe only partially deducting it. In this case, I would say probably her accountant's advised you do use your plane for business, therefore we're going to deduct. But I'm more than 100% sure there are things behind the scene going on that you and we don't know.
Yeah.
So is it being deducted? Probably. Is it 100%? Probably not. We don't know what the percentage is, but I'm sure it's not 100%. I don't think it is.
So I interrupted you. You said there's 3 things to consider. It has to be ordinary and necessary, not lavish. What's the third?
Ordinary and necessary.
And not lavish.
And not lavish.
Yeah. Got it. To close it out, and this is something that you touched on briefly, because this is a big one. Go ahead, Sam, you want to say something?
We were talking about checks, just to point out. I found out yesterday IRS stopped giving out refund via checks. From 2025 and onwards,
electronic.
You only are going to be able to get your refund if you're doing direct deposit. No more checks, because a lot of people's checks got lost. A lot of checks got stolen. So the IRS said no more checks. We don't want to deal with this problem anymore. So they're saying in 2025 and onwards, we only give out refunds via direct deposit, just to make a note of that for everybody.
All right. So you touched briefly on this about the auditing. Now, preparing for an IRS or state audit before it happens, basically. So what are like the basic proactive steps? Because this is something, listen, at the end of the day, you're both in this business. You both, it's a pain in the ass, frankly speaking. It's a pain in the ass for you guys probably just as much as the client. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of backtracking, a lot of magnifying glass searching. And it's, like I said, it's probably a huge headache for you. In an ideal world, we all want, tax season to go smoothly. What is something that you can close out for the listeners to really just touch on what are some steps that business owners can take to reduce audit exposure and ensure that they're prepared in the event an audit happens? So you said that you treat every client in a way where you want them to execute business in a way as if an audit is going to happen every single time.
For sure.
That's a great strategy in and of itself. What are some things that the listeners can do to prepare for something like this?
Well, I want to say that we do represent clients in front of the IRS for the audits. The audit can be different. It can be IRS audit. It can be New York State audit, New York City audit, Labor Department, sales tax, etc., etc. Bookkeeping, very simple, very short bookkeeping. Try to keep your books and records the way the IRS can understand them, the way your accountant can understand them. You can do it yourself, or you can hire someone. Mm-hmm. It's not that expensive, depends on the volume of the company. Bookkeeping.
Yeah, it's very important. And for high dollar value invoices, receipts, you must keep them. Today's technology is out there. You could scan and throw them out. We don't want you to keep the physical. Just keep the PDF copy of everything, that's, especially if it's a major purchase. I'm not talking about $5, $2 receipts. I'm talking about something that's, for over $500, $600, $700 purchases. IRS looks at big ticket items. Not that they're not looking at the smaller ones as well, but still, if you could keep every receipt scanned, fine, only better for you. But to have receipts and invoices saved somewhere as a PDF, very big deal. You have to have and keep those records at least for 7 years. After 7 years are up, the statute of limitation usually expires by then. The chances are you're not going to get audited for that year anyway, so you can already discard the records for that year.
And let's say I was very unorganized last year and I get audited in 3 years and they backtrack all the way to 2024. Yep. If I don't have the bookkeeping for 2024, let's just say I didn't really get organized until 2026 or 2027, because I know that that's the reality for a lot of people. What kind of things am I looking at for the 2024? Is that a penalty that I would have to pay? Like, let's say I don't have my books for my business. Mm-hmm. What kind of trouble am I looking at? Is it usually like, okay, you're now organized, you're going to have to pay for this? Like, if I can't explain the bookkeeping, what happens to me?
Well, if you don't have your bookkeeping for 2024, you pick up the phone, you call us, and we represent you. We will take your bank accounts and we work with you to document those expenses, which can be documented, and we go from there.
Yeah.
But
so you guys fix boo-boos too. You fix Band-Aids. You don't just prepare us in case we don't have them. If somebody is in trouble, they can come to you and say, hey, listen.
Represent clients.
Yeah, for sure.
The audit, we work with clients. But again, it's tedious, and we have to go back to collect those bank statements and credit card. And a lot of time, bank was closed and the account was closed. And it's difficult to get those records.
Yeah.
And the IRS want audit to the certain deadline. And we have to jump and work harder.
Yeah. And that gives, again, point that even if you're not doing your books, at least save your bank statements in a PDF somewhere. This way, if God forbid something happens, you need them. You don't have to go to a bank. You don't have to go crazy. You can just go and get it from your thumb drive somewhere saved. This way, it makes both of our lives easy.
And I will contradict, if you don't keep your books, how you know how to file taxes?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know what is your gross, what is your net, what is your expenses, what is deductible expenses, what not deductible expenses?
The education system here did not teach us any of this. This is, for me, is like hieroglyphics. Every time I hear it, it's like fascinating. We never learned it.
Here for you guys.
Yeah.
That's why you can go to licensed professional and you can ask advice. I mean, if client want to do something wrong and illegal, they don't need a licensed professional. They can do it on their own.
Yeah.
But if you do it right, if you're seeking for,
and you just need guidance, basically,
guidance, you come and you will get that guidance.
Yep.
All right. So for people that are listening, if you really truly have any issues, you can come to both of these gentlemen. They are at 105-16 Jamaica Avenue by the name of Network Solutions. Gentlemen, I thank you so much. This is a great public service. A lot of people have even just a generalization of questions around this topic. Now, we're in real time sitting here. It's January 13th, 2025. When do you recommend? 26. Oh my God, it's like flying. I can't even believe it.
Flies.
When do you recommend somebody reach out to you before the tax season for this year?
The sooner
Today.
the better.
Today, basically. That's the answer. Yesterday. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure. George Fayzibayev and Sam Paltiel, CPA accountant here. If you guys need a house, George can sell you a house as well, right? Or he can hire somebody that sells you a house.
Our agents will.
Yeah, he's also a broker, licensed real estate broker, so he can help you with that as well.
Got it. I thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
This has been very, very informative, and I hope people are going to be using your services in the near future.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And big shout out to Kaikov Media. Thank you, Kaikov
brothers. They're the best.
Kaikov Media, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Good night, New York.